In the Undoctored program, we encourage that people take personal control over their health. If the doctor and the healthcare system did their jobs and provided health in safe, effective, low-cost ways, we wouldn't need programs like Undoctored. But as you know, the healthcare system is not doing that. They're in the business of dispensing prescription drugs and hospital procedures and other revenue-generating activities. And health was never the intention, at least not in modern times. So we personally work to restore health on our own. And we're going to use natural means, logic, science, tools accessible to us, whether they might be nutritional supplements, a change in diet, or a smartphone app, or collective collaboration online. We use all the tools we can that empower us in taking back personal control over health. One of the phenomena I'm seeing that's playing out in our Undoctored Inner Circle, that's the website. It's a paid membership website for those of you who are very serious about the Undoctored program and taking back personal control over health. What I'm seeing is that lots of people are coming to us saying, I have all the signs and symptoms you talk about that suggest I have small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or Sibo, S-I-B-O. And what that means is that dysbiosis, or disrupted bowel flora, has been allowed to ascend from the colon, where bacteria should be confined, all the way up through 20-some feet of small intestine up to the duodenum and stomach. And you have, in effect, an infected gastrointestinal tract. That's a big problem, and it's a much more common problem than we all thought. That's encouraged, by the way, by stress. Emotional stress can do it. Prior consumption of antibiotics, antibiotic, pesticide, and herbicide residues in processed foods, grain consumption, sugar consumption, alcohol consumption. So lots of factors in modern diets, modern life, cultivate this ascending infection. And while the Undoctored program gets you started, the basic program, the Wild, Naked, Unwashed program, detailed in the Undoctored book, in the Undoctored website, Undoctored Inner Circle, gets you started. Such things as removal of wheaten grains and sugars and a high-potency multi-species probiotic, etc. Those do get you started, but some people encounter problems. So see the video on the Undoctored blog, in the Undoctored website also, Inner Circle, that talks about what I call the prebiotic fiber test. If you have an adverse response to prebiotic fibers, particularly within the first 60 minutes, that is a very, very confident sign that you have Sibo. And there's some other what I call telltale signs of Sibo. That's also in another video that you can access and watch and see if you have the telltale signs of Sibo, like unexplained intolerances to food, even things like coffee or wine or eggs. That's new. That can be a telltale sign. Or unexplained diarrhea and abdominal discomfort. That can be a sign of Sibo also. What I see happening is people will say, I've done all those things. I had that unusual response to prebiotic fibers, and I went to my doctor, and I said, I think I have small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Can you do something about it? And the doctor says, I have no idea what you're talking about. Even the gastroenterologist, who is supposed to be an expert, of course, in bowel flora and bowel health, which they're not. They're experts in scoping you. So what do people do? Well, you could continue to chase doctors and hope that one of them at least educates themselves sufficiently to deal with this, perhaps a functional medicine or integrative health doctor, but even some of them are not fully up to speed. So what are you supposed to do? Because if you don't correct Sibo, you can be left with incapacitating fatigue and muscle pains and fibromyalgia. You can have a weight loss that stalls and won't move. You can have psoriasis that doesn't get any better after an initial response. You can have autoimmune conditions or neurological impairment, serious stuff, that plateaus and stops getting any better, even though you've done everything else on the Undoctored program right. So getting Sibo 1 identified, then corrected, is key. And what I'm seeing is more and more people are doing it on their own. They're taking presumptive evidence of Sibo and or conducting their own hydrogen breath test, which you can access. And then treating it. Now, there's 3 general ways to treat it. One would be prescription antibiotics, such as rifaximin, which is very nasty, carries about a 3% chance of Clostridium difficile, C. diff, enterocolitis, which is a very bad complication. There's herbal antibiotics, which have now been demonstrated to be equivalent or perhaps somewhat superior to prescription antibiotics, and you can get these on your own. And then there's the diet that some people call FODMAPs, or a diet completely devoid of prebiotic fibers, but that's a process that takes months to years. It's very, very restrictive, and has been shown to be helpful in irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, not necessarily in Sibo, though the two, IBS and Sibo, are very closely related. So that is a path you can follow, but it's not my first choice. My first choice, and the choices of many more people who've been discussing this and doing it on the Undoctored Inner Circle, is to choose those herbal antibiotics. There's two groups you can choose. One is the candibactin, ARBR, and there's another one called FC-cidal and disbiocide. Now, this is discussed in much greater detail in our Undoctored Inner Circle, how much to take, how long to take it, why antibiotics should be combined with prebiotic fibers, at least in low dose, to increase effectiveness dramatically. But people are doing this. One of the people who did this, for instance, started the FC-cidal and disbiocide regimen, and within several days went from incapacitating fibromyalgia, which had persisted, doing everything else right. Within days, had near total relief of this process she'd had for years, as well as accompanying weight loss, feeling better, a change in her facial appearance. And so these are the kinds of results we're seeing in people who are doing it on their own, which I love to hear about, because I want everyone to be empowered to safely, yes, but effectively, inexpensively, take back control over personal health. And so I am very, very gratified to see that people are actually treating, correcting, and enjoying all the wonderful benefits that come from managing their own small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. If this kind of thing interests you, I invite you to join our conversations, pardon me, in the Undoctored Inner Circle, because this is more than something you can gain just by a quick read of something. There's a lot of knowledge here. There's some pitfalls you want to be careful of, and it helps to have a group of people who are doing the same, or have done it, and done it successfully, and learned how to do it, safe ways to do it, and ways to save money doing it, ways to deal with the aftermath, ways to recultivate bowel flora afterwards. So I invite you to join those conversations and participate in this wonderful experiment in personal health empowerment.